Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What a wild weekend of college ball we had. Sports in general. The NFL is on an unbelievable tear. I'm Bradley Hinton. This is Beyond the Finish Line. It's December 2nd. And conference championship weekend is on the horizon. We got some crazy coaching situations happening, obviously. A lot of fan bases happy, some fan bases not happy. A few number ones, some things of that. But it's a good day. So before we get started, or if you're here, you found your way here on accident, appreciate you being here. Hit that follow button, subscribe, and let's have a day. Let's talk about some ball. If you've got any hot takes, cold takes, want to get anything out, give me a call, 404-590-3224. The Couch Coach call. That's the phone line. Let me hear what you're thinking. How's your team moving? Did your team not move? Yeah, me too. Truthfully, I was in the camp that he was staying, especially if you watched his documentary. The way that he loved Oxford. Truthfully, it may have not been the money. And I know that sounds crazy. That's the thing, is I think Ole Miss was gonna match, and they probably did, if we had to guess. That hasn't came out on their side of the camp. If I had to guess, it's probably gonna be like NIL money. But my thing with that is they're about to put some regulations. So obviously it's been being done for years and years, way before NIL, under the table type ish, but they put some regulations on it where you're capped out. Does he really win? But I think right now I started tracking it early on. The private jet that picked him and his family up on what was that, Sunday, is the same jet that I tracked that went to Baton Rouge on the 17th of November. Looks like it picked them up and brought them back in the same day. With that, that's a really big booster that owns that jet. MMR Group it looks like it's an oil and gas company, and we all know the money that comes with that. Look at Texas Tech. I think that was probably the difference. If I had to guess, I would probably say that it was probably going to be due to the NIL allocations, if you will. I think Ole Miss, the pressure wasn't going to be on him, but I do think I'm in the camp. He's going to win a national championship at LSU. Could he have won one at Ole Miss? Probably. But the pressure difference, the amount of Utah, I don't know. That one's interesting, especially being with like BYU, and because looking at the CFPs from last week, I mean, Utah, their loss is to Texas Tech and BYU. Do they have 2 losses? I think so. those two, right? Or they didn't play. Uh, yeah, so 2 losses, Texas Tech and BYU. That's that's the thing is I don't think so, unfortunately, because if Texas Tech wins the Big 12 this weekend, obviously they're in. BYU's out. I don't think Utah can jump them because they lost to them in the regular season. So I don't know if they'll end up in the playoffs. If that makes, but I do think that they probably Devin Dampier is good. I think Devin Dampier can sling the rock, but and his legs are very very dangerous. But when you look at it in the sense of, especially the bracket, um, say the like Tulane, North Texas, who's getting in there? You have, yeah, I think the head coaching carousel, and truthfully, like, is that what Penn State's been waiting on? I'm kind of I'm kind of concerned. Like, what was Penn State really waiting on? Was it one of these names that landed at obviously LSU? Lane? I don't think so. I don't think they were in the market with Lane. Even though in his press conference yesterday he mentioned there were a few conversations happening. So I'm sure that Jimmy Sexton, his agent, was talking to all of them. I don't know if Penn State was ever a reality. I do think that Florida might have been, and them jumping out to go chase Summerall. So BYU, I saw on X a lot of BYU alum, a lot of folks that are a part of BYU are trying to show him a lot of love. Now, I'm sure the money difference for him is huge. That's got to be a Penn State. That's got to be a pretty tremendous jump there. Let's see here. But do you go from the Big 12 BYU where you're right now? I mean, with what you have, I think you see, Texas Tech BYU is going to be at the top of that one for a minute. And so does he want to make the move from the Big 12 to the Big 10 where he knows, you're looking at Ohio State. Ryan Day's not going to stop recruiting. Ohio State's not going to stop being Ohio State overnight. So with Ohio State, if you go from, I'm sure the money difference is. So I don't think that he leaves BYU, truthfully. I think that he will stay at BYU. But that circles back to what the hell is Penn State doing? Like, where were they? Did they have a plan? I can't wait for I can't wait for the inside information to come out on what they were doing. Was it Terry Smith the whole time? Was it, like, what is it? As far as, gaining where were they looking? Were they really thinking they're going to pull Kalen DeBoer from Alabama? I don't know that rebuilding the Penn State program is a better move than Alabama. Yeah, the pressure's higher, and Kirk Herbstreit says he doesn't think that anyone in the conference championship this weekend, like Alabama, they won't be punished. But Alabama would then have 3 losses, but their head-to-head then with Georgia's 1-1. So with that being said, Alabama has, for some reason, that's Kirby's kryptonite. Rematches have been pretty successful. I think 2017. I think it was 2017 that Kirby got his revenge in the SEC championship against Auburn, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. I think so, because I think that was Jake Fromm's year. And so the rematches have been, I agree. Their tiebreaker mess has to be solved. The ACC, you would think, and I get it, this year, like, that's their tiebreaker, which is, yes, bogus, ridiculous. What are we doing? But as the commissioner of said conference, whether that was the Big 12, ACC, whoever, if it was happening like it is, you want your best teams fighting for that. The tiebreaker can't go to a 7-5 Duke. Are we really, if they beat Virginia, the ACC's risking not having a team in. And it's not out of line that they may beat Virginia. That's the problem, is Duke has been so inconsistent that they truthfully, Mensah, I assume he's playing. Like, there's a chance they win, and the ACC does not get anybody in. You have the CFP rankings, and you can look at the bracket, which will, throw it a little bit different, but Miami not being in there, see, I don't know if Vandy, and I appreciate the question. The way that I was digging into, because you would think, like, now we have a 2-loss, or 3-loss Alabama if they lose to Georgia, but the head-to-head is tied, and conference championships are not supposed to penalize team. Alabama beat Vandy, and that's the only thing that is going to hold it out. But how do they get in? And what is the committee? What are they really valuing? Duke in the ACC championship after. Yeah, Duke should not be in conference championship. It should not be that safe. Miami may not make it in, which is that was pretty much ACC's best shot. If Virginia wins, they get in. But I saw that stadium as they're playing. I don't know if Virginia. That's ACC's best chance. Their tiebreaker has to be solved. The commissioner of the ACC has to solve their tiebreaker. That cannot happen again. Duke wins. ACC does not have a team in there. Not Miami. No one. Texas. Everybody hates it. I think Texas has a good resume to lobby. I just don't know if they're gonna overlook that loss to Florida. That might, even though as it's being thrown, Sark and the rest, like, yes, they have the Duke tiebreaker mess is absolutely a disaster, but Texas has the most wins against top 10 teams, and there are, and Sark is right, there are teams that don't have those type of games that they've played. That's is what it is. Oklahoma's defense is great. Can they score on Ohio State's defense? I think Ohio State's offense, and same thing with UGA. Kirby, for some reason, and you can look at the numbers, his second half, I mean, like Alabama, they didn't score a point in the second half. That's why this SEC championship is very, very interesting. The defense for him has only gotten stronger. They've made a lot of changes. There are some true freshmen on the field now that are actually wrecking the game. It's gonna be interesting in Atlanta this weekend. But so Oklahoma, I think they're there. I don't think that offense is what it is. If you shut down Mateer, his leg, you contain him, it's going to be a tough part. And there are some good defenses that will be able to get to him. Texas Tech is one. Yeah, Duke's tiebreaker, it really doesn't make sense. Let me see here. It actually makes no. Let's see if I can find the actual, because it goes like head to head, and then very weird. Racco, I'm a dog guy, but my brother-in-law is a Georgia Tech fan, and hey, Georgia Tech's got something beautiful being built down there, especially when you hear about Florida, and this is reported by Florida 247. They came after Brent Key, and he was not interested. And when they played Georgia, like they did even this year, and I don't know how vanilla Mike Bobo kept the offense, if it was just a just win because they were going to the SEC. I don't know that part of it. Didn't look like the same offense from the Mississippi State game, and Georgia Tech's defense has been atrocious. But that's rivalry week. Happens. That's crazy stuff happens on rivalry week. Wild Card Committee will put Texas in, which is crazy. Interesting enough, I don't know. This committee is so it feels like they're so lost. Every time he comes out and talks after getting out of that room, and we're going to find out tonight, like right now, I mean, Michigan falls. So, yes, Texas jumps them. I don't see how if Duke wins, there is a 0% chance that the ACC gets a team in, and that's a problem. Like for a Power 4, like that is a problem. Could Miami be the team? But I think they're going to end up getting bumped out due to the inconsistency of the ACC this year. If Virginia wins, I think that they'll probably get 11 or 12 when you're looking at the bracket. So when you're looking at the bracket, they'll probably, yeah, I feel the same. I feel the same. Notre Dame, there is a world that we live in, and it's been said the closer that Miami gets to Notre Dame, I don't really know why they keep saying a tier. Like, these teams are tier. Like, you're ranking all teams from the same tier. These are the best 12. I think that this is the tier. Miami, it's going to be, the ACC has a tough path to get in. I think if Miami doesn't get in, I don't think Notre Dame gets in. And people are going to hate me for saying that. But I truthfully don't see how Notre Dame gets in and Miami doesn't, because we're playing the on the field head-to-head matchups, and that's where Sark and everybody has came in. I appreciate the follow. Thank you for that. Miami 100% going to the playoffs. I wouldn't call it 100%, honestly. I think that there is a good. Appreciate the follow there. Miami, they keep talking about Miami's loss to NC State and Louisville, and it's one of those things. I appreciate the follow. It's one of those things. It's like the ACC. That's why I say I think Vandy does deserve to be there. I am in the same camp there. I think Oregon's got a shot to play Notre Dame at home. I think Oregon gets a home game. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if Notre Dame gets in. As much as they might. Yes, A&M is a. I don't think A&M gets a top 4 seed. Obviously, this changes tonight because of their loss. They're probably going to drop. Who knows how far? Let's say that, and we have to worry about what is the committee going to look at the Ole Miss team. I don't think Ole Miss falls out of the playoff. I do think that Ole Miss falls out of a home playoff game, and that sucks for them. They made a choice, to not let him. Let me see. Texas Tech winning it all. Texas Tech is very good. I do think that they are overlooked, but Cody Campbell has put some money into Texas Tech, and that's oil money. That stuff is never ending, and Texas Tech has a really good shot to make a run. I don't know if they win it all, but they do have a really good shot at making a run. I think Diego Pavia is your Heisman. Love it or hate it, he's Vandy would not be the same player or the same team without him on the field. Yes, that oil money, 100%, and it is never ending. They just they like step off their back porch and drill in the ground, and they're like, we hit another load. Call that kid from Georgia. There are a few Georgias. National Signing Day. BYU, I think BYU has to get into or has to win this weekend to get in. Let me go. Where's the? Hold up. He is going to go here. Conference. I think BYU has to win this weekend to get in. If they don't, I appreciate the follow, Jay. If they don't, second group of 5 will replace with Miami when Duke wins. If Duke does win, that is, and again, that is not out of the picture. SEC comes to be 8 to 10. I don't think I'm in the camp of even if Alabama loses this weekend that they're getting in. Now, I think it's going to be a matter of two things. If they lose, they're not getting a home game, but I don't think they fall out of the top 12. Second group of 5 will replace. Yeah, there's, again, Duke wins. ACC has no chance. Ole Miss falls out like Florida State 2 years ago. That would be chaos. They will riot in Oxford. They will absolutely riot in Oxford if they don't get in. But you have to look. Yeah, their defense is still there. The offense, Joe Judge is going to be calling plays now in the interim. And let's face it, he had Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones at the Giants and was atrocious with play calling. So, is Ohio State really that good? Bama shouldn't get in if they lose. With 3 losses, it's tough, but I think because they have a win over Georgia at Georgia, they would be the first 3-loss team. Clemson got in. Yeah. Is Ohio State really that good? Appreciate that, Carlton. Look, I'm a UGA fan, but I'm also a realist. Alabama has Georgia's number. It's Kirby's kryptonite. I don't know why, but it is. Now, he's good in rematches. He beat Auburn in 2017 after they beat us in Athens, and so in the SEC championship. But we're going to Ohio State's schedule. Okay, I'm going to answer your question because being the team they were last year, they lost a few, obviously, some good defensive players, but their defense has been stout. How stout? I don't know because I can't. Yeah, Sooners get a home game. Yes, for sure. Yeah, you want that. How stout is Ohio State? Their schedule doesn't say they've played. We're going to find out this weekend. I don't know if they have played a defense like they will see in the playoffs, nor do I think that they've been tested. That opening game with Texas, yes, they played on the field. Both of those quarterbacks, that was their first true start. That's why Texas is lobbying quality loss. You know, So we're going to find out about Ohio State this weekend because that Indiana offense is explosive. They are very fast. They're physical. The Kurt Signetti experiment from last year went just as he was spitting and fuming. He doesn't really have to talk anymore because that team is different than last team and they're better. But I've said it all season. Until Ohio State has a hiccup, they got to stay at number one. They won it all. They've not really shown that they should fall. And so until they show us they're not the best team in the country, and I don't think, regardless of schedule, they just play their schedule. That's just part of it. You play your schedule. They've done that. They've taken care of business. We are going to find out who they really are this weekend with the Indiana Hoosiers. BYU revenge. There's a chance. I do think with Texas Tech, Morton being healthy, that's probably not the best thing for BYU. That's going to be. These are all going to be good games. Probably 3 out of the 4, and I assume anybody can tell me the fourth one that that isn't. But it might be a good game. I just don't think that it will. I don't think that it will change a lot. So, but I do have. Look, we're all a couch coach. Couch coach line 404-590-3224. Call in, give me your take. I will air it on the show. I'm live every day, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me a follow. Come join me. What happens tonight on the new rankings? It's going to be probably the most chaos we have had yet, to be completely frank with you. It's about to be nutty. A&M, how far do they fall? Because they don't value Texas as much, and I'm saying the committee. How far do they fall? There's a chance they could fall all the way to 8. And then you have a Texas win over Oklahoma. I think Texas moves up. The problem is like they don't have, as Mr. Chair Hunter says, they don't have a data point, right? Everything is done now besides the conference champions. I don't see how they jump that far up with the win. Miami maybe falls out tonight. Does Vandy move up? Does Vandy get into the top 12? I think Texas might move up because Michigan is going to fall behind them. But they don't jump Vandy, and then that puts into the conversation of Miami and Notre Dame. Does Notre Dame and Miami get bumped? It's going to be. This is only kind of the beginning of it, but it's going to be interesting because there's a lot of stuff that can be taken from it. But like this here, where are we at? Like, does Ole Miss unfortunately get penalized for what happened? I mean, it's not out of the conversation that they may fall. I don't know if Ole Miss falls completely out, but they're going to probably fall out of a home game, and that hurts. That really hurts for them. Being this, it's a mess. Oxford, if they move out of the top 12, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy loud. Yeah, that's the thing is to that point, right? If it's not going to be Oklahoma because they beat Alabama at Alabama. And so like moving them out. Welcome, man. Appreciate you guys being here. Moving them out kind of is tough. So is it going to be Ole Miss due to the circumstances? I mean, you've got number 10 Alabama in the SEC championship. How do they fare? Miami stay in the top 10. Oklahoma has no offense and will be. I completely agree with that. Oklahoma's defense is what carries them, but I can't take out the fact that they beat Alabama at home. And I hate to say it because it's always the thing, but Alabama has no run game. They have been exposed a few times. Truthfully, when you go back and look at the Alabama-Georgia game, the adjustments were made at halftime. Alabama didn't score the rest of the second. They didn't score in the second half. Unfortunately, Georgia didn't score enough, and now we've got a maybe 3-loss team that was in the SEC championship. It's gonna be crazy. Miami and Notre Dame stay in top 10. I don't know if Notre Dame stays in. I think this might be the year. Now, they are a national brand, so I could be completely wrong. But this could be the year that we see them slide because they don't have a conference championship. I think Jeremiah Love is in New York. I think you probably have if you're looking at the throw this up there. What? Your four Heisman finalists are probably going to be Julian Sayin, Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, and Diego. That's who I put in New York. I don't even know what the odds are, but based on their on the field play, those got to be looked at. The cue of the day, 8.5. I don't even know what the sports books have opened them up as next year, but 8.5 wins, setting the bar for LSU. They have a tough schedule. Lane is. We know he's going to have a really good offense, but is it going to be instant? Depends on who comes over from Ole Miss. Transfer portal is going to be crazy. I do think that they probably win. I probably am taking the over there. But I have to. James Franklin is on a tear. The way that James Franklin is dominating. Trying to get the. Yeah, January 1st. And so is Ole Miss eliminated by then? And if so, we're really going to see if the gates open. When you think about all there has been massive load of decommitments happening from Ole Miss already, offensive. But I see that James Franklin at Virginia Tech is pounding the recruiting trail right now, which and this is not updated to what is going on, at the moment. This per Rivals, like Virginia Tech's going to make a huge jump, and the Nittany Lions have lost a ton. I just saw that Oklahoma lost a decommitment to, I assume, LSU, and then another one to Virginia Tech. James Franklin is going to have Virginia Tech back in the field, if you will. Arkansas, yep, they have, and that's the thing in the world we live in is a lot of these coaches, they have players that they're recruiting that are dialed to them. So like LSU, Lane, right? Now you're getting a lot of SEC commits that were headed to Ole Miss. John Summerall from Tulane. I've already seen a linebacker from Tulane, boom, headed to Florida. Also, on that, didn't Florida say when they first came out and fired Napier, they were not looking for a G5 coach and they were not looking to promote a coordinator? But here we sit as of the chaotic college weekend. They hired, and I think Summerall is a good coach. I also like what he said. I like what he said in his interview or his press conference. Like, I don't hire my friends. That's because he takes it serious, and you mix business with pleasure, and next thing you know, there's problems. It happens all the time. So I like that. Now, Florida just said was that their backup plan? Being sources say Florida went after Brent Key, Georgia Tech, and he said, no way. That's tough. But Arkansas, Ryan Silverfield from Miami. Arkansas will move up. I do recall him at Memphis this offseason. He made a comment about Kirby, I think, and I don't remember the exact wording. And they're on Georgia's schedule. It was an insult, something about the players and the culture or something, the driving, which is always the living thing. Yeah, I really think he proved it. He proved what he said. He bleeds yellow and gold. I mean, yellow and gold. Gold. He is a yellow jacket. 100% yellow jacket. He is bleeding gold. And that's Florida probably threw a bag at him that it may have been hard for Georgia Tech to match. Florida they have some pretty big boosters. The thing is he was like, and he's building something special, and the ACC is wide open. Wide open. We have a 7-5 Duke team in the conference championship. It is wide open. Oh. But so Arkansas, they get Georgia after that. But I do think that was a good hire. He's shown he can build a culture. What can he do for the Hogs? Auburn, Alex Golish. USF, with what resources and what he did. I mean, he put a smackdown on the SEC team. Simple as that. So he deserves some respect coming in. I saw Michigan State. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. That's one of those things with these jobs, and he's in the SEC, right? But does he have enough backing to build a team to compete? That's the only. That part is where the regulations come in on the NIL, which is going to change a lot of. It's just going to change a lot of teams. Now, we've been living in college football for a long time. Teams have been doing their thing under the table. Yeah. Arkansas, if he can build up a culture, it's kind of like one of those. He's going to build a window of, we're going to 3-4 years, because we've built the guys that stay, and have a chance to compete. We'll see though. Michigan State hiring Pat Fitzgerald. I don't know how he may have just wanted back in coaching, and they're the team that came out with it. Virginia Tech, James Franklin. Penn State fired him. He has now recruited very well to Virginia Tech. Again, ACC being wide open. What are we going to get from him? I am standing on the hill that Virginia Tech is going to be a good team in the ACC. I do think they will compete, and Enter Sandman is going to be crazy electric. You can look at the TikTok profile. I have a video that I just threw together of Enter Sandman and James Franklin, and I really think that they are going to be good and compete in the ACC. So that one is a oops. If I don't knock you out here. That one is a pretty, that one's going to be a good hire for them. UCLA, Bob Chesney from JMU. Again, it's just, we were talking about, unfortunately, it's one of those programs that kind of feels like a stepping stone, and which I hate that. The program shouldn't, they're out there in Cali. There should be some money boosters that want to support the show, if you will. So UCLA, they've got to figure it out. They've got to get some stuff together. When you look in, let's see here. I saw this. I don't know who reported it first. I'm going to say it was him. I was talking about it the other day. Blake Baker went to, that's his alma mater. He is a very, very good defensive-minded head coach. If LSU can't keep him at defense, Tulane will be the job he takes. I don't think that the Florida DC is in the realm, unfortunately for Florida. If Lane can keep him on staff, Ole Miss will hate me for this. And I'm a Georgia fan. I don't like LSU. It is what it is. I'm never going to be biased when talking about them. That is an upgrade at defensive coordinator than Pete Golding, and I hope Ole Miss and Pete Golding have success unless they play Georgia. That just is what it is. Because in the world we live in, well, we're going to find out tonight. What does resumes mean? Surpriser was probably the Kentucky firing. Mark Stoops. He had a press conference or a post-game conference this weekend, literally talking about he was literally talking about this is home. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. They must have had their eye on Will Stein, offensive coordinator from Oregon, because they waited until all the chaos was over to fire to then bring his name into it, which is great. And so he's being hired. I think it was a 5-year deal. I don't really know I guess it does for the school, but for the school, but they can ship somebody off in a heartbeat. You're not meeting expectations. Boom, get out of here. Which, hey, they want to pay $53 million for a coach to go on and not. I don't know. I feel like you could figure out some type of task to put him to around there that would make you happy for your $53 million or $23 million, $1 million. Sweep the streets. I don't know. Couldn't you come up with something? Let them work on put them to work on the campus. They're still under contract. I don't know what the hell Penn State's doing. They say they're going after BYU. Sataki. I don't know. They are. I don't know if the athletic director of Penn State post was real, if it was a parody account, if he forgot to sign into his burner, whatever the case is. But he posted, "We are," and it was not pleasant. So I don't know what Penn State's doing. That one's going to be interesting move. Stay with me this week. I do have, big news, big breaking news. Interesting. Jared Curtis has flipped his commitment from Georgia to Vanderbilt. Wow. That is breaking news. I forgot who I was listening to this morning, and that's per Hayes Fawcett, obviously. That's interesting. I forgot who I was listening to. His mom wanted him in red and black, I assume, but Diego, Pavia, Clark Lee, they've been making a push. Now, he wants to play right away. The only thing for him that is concerning is if they do what Colorado did. Colorado took Julian Lewis from Carrollton in Georgia. He's going to play. Here's the keys, Shador. And then they went in the portal and brought in a QB. I don't know if he's staying. Haven't heard anything on that. I'm wondering if Vanderbilt is, and you can't promise, you can't promise a 18-year-old you're going to play. They still have to work. They still have to come in and show that they can run your playbook. So that is a interesting one. But I'm not surprised, actually. Gunner's coming back. Behind him, there is Puglisi and Montgomery. And then in 2027, Georgia has Jaden. His last name is slipping. He's already committed. Now, commitments mean nothing until they sign. Jared Curtis was committed to Georgia once. He decommitted because Oregon was pushing hard. He then recommitted to Georgia, locked in, et cetera, et cetera. He's signing tomorrow. He has a state championship on Friday. He has flipped his commitment. Is what it is. He wants to stay home. Hey, they're building something special at Vanderbilt. He may have not played for 2 years. This is the same exact thing that happened with Dylan Raiola. It's not going to change. It's not going to change. But that is a interesting. Interesting flip there. I wasn't sure. His mama said it was red and black. He was red and black, locked in. He's going to stay home. And yeah, the sun is setting on Kirby's Georgia Bulldogs. I don't know about all that now, but congratulations to Vanderbilt. Hopefully they can get into the playoffs so that they can make a run with Diego. Again, until that LOI is signed, I don't know if you can say a player is committed to your program. And then there's a transfer portal in the spring. So, it'll be fixed, surely. Those higher-ups will fix it, surely. Stay tuned. Later this week, I do have some young gents coming on that are in the transfer portal. Give me a follow, a like, a subscribe. Want to talk to some kids and give me a follow on Twitter or X, if you will. Beyond the finish line on there, and look for some updates on when. But I'm going to talk to a few, more or less. Let's learn who these players are off the field, their journey, who they are, and some stuff that fans can get behind under the helmet as they can connect and relate to these players. So I've got a few lined up. I will be updating that on X. Don't want to throw names because I don't know when schedules will align, but got a few there. And then tonight we get the rankings. What is the committee going to do tonight? This changes. And so does this. This changes. Who's in, who's out before conference championships? That's what we want to know. Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow, live 11 a.m. Eastern time. Give me a follow, a like, subscribe. Show's over. The vibes never stop. Call somebody. Be nice to somebody. I'll see you guys tomorrow.